Good evening, Christians. If you ain't saved, holla at us. We a little early for church. Blessed quietness. Holy quietness. What assurance in my soul. Hello, Aaliyah. We early for church, but wrestling coming on, so I don't play that.
Did you just say I don't play that?
Yeah, wrestling on at 7, so church got to move up to 6, so an hour service.
Something else.
How are you doing, Aaliyah?
Hi everyone.
Man, that went from 3 to 6.
Yeah. Okay, so how's everyone? And when you guys come in, if you can, pretty please just go ahead and
wave your hand in the air and wave it like just
did you have me? If you can come in, say hi to us.
Say hi to us.
Because it doesn't let us know who's in here.
Unfortunately.
Yeah. So doesn't let us know. So
that is good. I think it's still a delay that's like really annoying.
Yes, it is.
But what can we do? What can we do?
Okay.
3 minutes, countdown.
3 minutes. No, let's get started.
What?
Let's get started.
We told people 6 o'clock.
I know, but they can just come in.
Good morning, Tia.
Hey, Tia. Because people, we don't have a long attention span. You literally have a couple of minutes or a couple of seconds to entertain me or to captivate my attention before I'm on to the next live or I'm scrolling past you. So let's get this started.
How you doing?
Hey guys. Hey. So what's the topic for today?
If you didn't see, I posted maybe a couple of minutes ago. The chess board. And the popular phrase in chess when you're trying to win the game is called checkmate. So tonight we're going to deal with checkmate. How do you check your mate when they got a line? Are you trying to check them holistically, or are you just trying to check them, put them in their place, knock them over like that picture show? Don't look like that when I'm talking.
Anywho, so yeah, that's something, because when it comes down to checking, nobody wants to be checked. And then depending on what type of person you are, checking, depending on the type of person you are who's doing the checking and the one who's receiving the checking, it can really be, it could go left real quick.
And disclaimers, well, not just for married people, but dating, all of that. If she out here taking 5 people going on dates, and you trying to be exclusive, check.
I mean, not only just for
cut it out,
dating or marital relationships. It goes for anything to do with authority. Anything to put a kid, you're chastising a kid. What is the proper way to do that? Do you chastise your kid in public? Because back, when we were growing up, it's like, I'm gonna get you where you act up, that's where you about to get checked. And nowadays it's like, well, you don't want to hurt their feelings, or you don't want to embarrass them. You want to consider their feelings and who they are and their things and everything. Hey, Dre, you want to consider those, consider the feelings and everything. So did you share it to the men's group?
Oh, my bad.
So, you know, you guys talk to us while we're getting everything set up and allowing more people to come in. Checking. How do you feel about being checked?
Yeah, because in the game, and I just read up on this, in the game of chess, there's a time for being checked, which doesn't in the game. You being checked, it just means that the king is surrounded and can't really move. Versus with checkmate is like, that's it, the game is over. So it's like in relationships, is it cool to have a moment to say, okay, it's time to check this? Let's freeze, let's halt this for a minute, because I got something that's not right that I want to address in you. And you got to be, like Kendra said, you have to be for the other person. You have to be there and actually take that in without being like, all right, checkmate, I'm done with you. So how do you deal with that? Is that something that's easy for some versus difficult for others? So
yeah,
check or checkmate. Let's get at it.
I would say for me, I don't mind being checked as long as it's done respectfully and appropriately. You could tell me I'm wrong. That's cool. Hey, Tony, you could tell me I'm wrong. You can check me if you will. But like the whole word check, you checking me? Like that
it's just a word though.
It's just a word, but it's like, it may rub people the wrong way. Like, you don't check me. You're not,
But what's that issue though? See, like, I want you to get
the issue could be possibly how you feel about authority.
Is it pride?
It could be pride. It could be a number of things. Pride, definitely. Authority. How do you feel about authority? Mm-hmm. Do I feel that you're even
worthy to
check me, of caliber to check me? Like, who do you think you are?
Pastor Keith. Shout out to Pastor Keith.
Hey, Pastor Keith. Hey, Vinny. As far as when it comes down to checking, it's like, how do you have to, if you're going to do it, you got to do it respectfully.
In decency and in order. That's the word.
Decency and in order. Yes. Pastor Keith, we're talking about checking. For those
checkmate.
Who are joining
if you just joined in.
Yeah, we're talking about checkmate. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, you're good. And I was gonna say the picture I posted was strategic to show in the game of chess. People carelessly knock over when you say checkmate, you knock over the other person's pen and it's knocked over. So it's like in a relationship, I don't think that's gonna work because you're not aiming to do that, right? You're in the relationship to try to captivate, that communication. But I think what happens is, unfortunately, in combative conversations, I'm going for the checkmate. I'm trying to end this thing. And I mean, you can use checkmate in situations. Hey, we've been battling with alcoholism as an example. Checkmate on that. Like, I'm trying to cut that off so that doesn't impact my relationship with Kendra. Whatever it may be, there is places for checkmates. And then I think in a relationship, there should be a portion where you can say check. Like, okay, let's stop, let's halt. All right, Mr. King, I got something to tell you. And don't swing on me. That's all I'm asking, Kendra.
Here we go. So, yeah, how do you guys tell me, how do you feel about checking? If you are the one being checked, if you're the one doing the checking, how do you feel? What is the right way? If that's the question, what is the right way to check somebody? Because it's like, it's so many things that goes into play when it comes down to a person trying to almost put me back in line or something like that. It's like, that's what, I'm checking you. I'm putting you back in line. You got out of line. Let me wheel you back in. Bruh, Like,
but is that a bad thing though? That's what it sounds to me from the way you're phrasing it. It's like
it's not always a bad thing.
Yeah. Is it the way that you're checked? I guess that's the content.
It
Context.
triggers. It could definitely mess with one of the triggers. Because when it comes down to it, who are we normally checked by? Our parents, our teacher, someone should be church. Someone of authority. And how do you feel? Hey, TT. It all depends on the delivery of the check, right?
Yes.
And how do you feel about how do you feel about authority? Because some people, authority is kind of like, who are you? Especially when it comes down, just speaking with some people. It's not just millennials, but to speaking with some people that that we talk with, it's like, nah, watch your tone.
Right.
The delivery could be cool, all of that, but the fact that, hey, I'm just not used to someone putting me in line or putting me in. No, first of all, again, it's so many factors that come into play. It's not always right, but it's so many factors that come into play. Some people don't tell me what to do. Don't tell me I'm gonna do what I want to do. Don't tell me what to do. Don't talk to me. Don't check me. I put on a share on mine. Don't check me. Check your mama. That's some people's mentality. It is, but it's really it's how it really is though. It's like,
yeah, it just sounds like Leah said. I think the word check just triggers off the bat, especially in a relationship. It's like, yo, you need to I'm about to put you in check. It's like, what? Who is you? I've been alive for 30-something years. Who is you to check me? And it's like, well, I don't think it's a bad thing. I don't think it is. I mean, my whole thing is just tell me if I'm wrong. If I'm wrong, tell me. So I can learn from it. I think I'm quoting G. Craig, Jesus. Yeah, I heard a preacher say that. Check me if I'm wrong.
Hey, Will.
I would rather you check me so that I could learn from that and not error in that again.
Yeah.
But I think in relationships, because this is my significant other, you don't have place to check me. Like it's hard. It's hard to do that.
Would you think it's hard from a man's point of view? Do you think it's hard for you to receive checking or correction from your wife?
I'm not going front. Yes.
No, tell the truth.
No.
And why?
I don't know. It may just be the pride thing, like you brought up earlier. It's just something that you're just like, who is you to check me? Like, and this is out of context. So just I'm not saying this. You the weaker vessel. Huh? You lean on some type of the emotions. I'm thinking all the time. Like, no, you ain't checking me because your decisions may end up emotional and not well thought through. Versus I'm thinking. Now that's just an example, okay? So don't be bashing me. But
it's how we.
But it's tough. It's tough in that situation to take. I would say I'm open and receptive for it. It's just tough to hear. I guess it's just tough to hear that, like to receive that from you.
So
because it seems like it seems like you're usurping authority versus like, oh, let's sit down. I want to tell you, you suck at this. Versus like, no, let me tell you something. See, your feet stink, huh? And I don't know. I couldn't think of an example that you would say. You trash, Kurt. Get out. Wash your feet.
I wouldn't say that ever. Vinny said, I'm okay with the checking, like you said, with the alcoholism when it deals with destructive behavior. With my partner, I wouldn't call it checking, but more like having each other's back. Absolutely,
okay.
Vinny.
That's a positive.
Absolutely.
That's a positive spin on that. I like that.
Yeah.
Having each other's back.
So back to kind of what you're saying, because this is something that we've talked about before, as far as a man's perspective, like being checked by their woman, by being checked by their wife, because that is something. You are Nisha, you are the weaker vessel. if you will. Like, I'm the head.
Shouts out to the dolphins in the room.
I'm that head office. I'm the head. I have the authority. I rule over you. You submit to me. You know, all of that stuff that comes into play. But it's like, who am I as your helpmeet if I don't help you to understand? Now, again, we talked about this before, and what bothered me, in our conversation, was you want just to talk about hard things, just to talk about rough things. You want, take me out to dinner, say it this way. I have to create a mood, create an atmosphere. I have to create an atmosphere, set up a mood just to talk, just to let you know that this is something that's bothering me.
I think it would help some situations with very hard and difficult situations. I think the setting, if you set an ambience of like, okay, I got something tough to talk to you about. Let's set up. We go on to Cheesecake Factory. All right, that's cool because I can't wild out in the restaurant. Let's be honest. Let's go out. I can't wild out in the restaurant. I can't be yelling. I got to be dignified. I got to be saved and a Christian and not yelling on my wife. So I'm going to sit there and listen. But I just think I don't think that's a bad thing.
Hey, Laurent. What?
Shouts out to my bro.
You don't think it's a bad thing to set an ambience?
No, I don't. I'm not saying all the time.
Because I'm about to say that's unrealistic.
What you mean? Okay, expound.
That's unrealistic for every time I need to talk to you about something, or every time there's some type of correction or anything.
No, I'm not saying every time. I'm saying if the situation calls for that, like where it's like a difficult conversation, I think that certain things should be prepared so that I can at least receive what you have to say, even if it's hurting, even if it's something that's very combative. I would rather you set the table and then be like, yo, this is coming, so that I can prepare myself versus you just coming at me like, okay, this is what I want to talk about. Because that's how a lot of discussions or arguments come about. It's like one person is feeling a way and the other person could be sidetracked or you feel like that, versus you actually preparing me for it. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I'm saying. I don't think all the time that's needed. I need to talk
to you about something that's been on my heart.
What's wrong with that?
It's not going to happen like that all the time.
Okay, so I'm gonna flip the table.
And not even sometimes.
With women though, do y'all realize that y'all come at us with hellfire and brimstone like Cain? And expect for us to take that, like take it all and then throw away the venom and the the darts that you just shot at me, but receive what I'm saying with a holistic heart. It's like, nah, I'm not gonna receive that. That's why I'm saying you don't want that. I feel to me that it should be a prepared thing so that you could address it the right way on both parties.
Okay, yes, I do agree with you. Sometimes we may come at you guys a little harsh.
What you mean by harsh? I want you to expound on that.
You said with hellfire and brimstone. So we may come at you, our tone may be a little tough. Sometimes our words may be a little, I don't want to say demeaning, but a little, it goes against, it messes with your pride, or it may challenge you, because that's another thing. What I read was...
Blunt, yes. There you go.
Blunt.
OSHA.
There we go, OSHA. Thank you. We may come at you in a little way that may be a little, blunt. That was the perfect word. So do I expect you to receive or, to take it all in? Yes and no. No, because if I'm respectful, hear what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? If I'm coming to you, but it just, I don't know, it's levels to it. So it's like, hey, if it's something that I've talked to you about, many of times, and it's something like, hey, this is very important to me, and there's really no motion on it. Now I'm frustrated, so is it frustration that I'm speaking out of? Is it anger? You know, if I catch you doing something that, you know, upsets me, you know, that kind of goes against our relationship, our morals, our standards, or whatever. You want me to come at you all smooth and nice and pretty? That's not going to happen.
Okay, but in that same token, you can't come at me with hellfire and brimstone. I understand, like, situations may be frustrating, but I'm supposed to say something so funny. You know what I'm saying? But you just can't. You have to be respectful, I think, because I'm more conscious of my words. Like, this is our relationship, so I'm more conscious with my words because I know Kurt Dale Johnson Jr. can say some stuff that would be crazy. So I'm trying to. Hold on, I'm gonna read that. Yes.
Yeah, that's good.
What are your thoughts on passing on some things? Like, I've learned to just let some stuff go. We don't have to talk about every issue. There are some things you just got to deal with and let it pass. I actually agree with that, Lauren. I actually agree with that.
Yeah.
Some stuff some stuff has to pass. But it's just like, but I think too, Laurent, what I would say is, what if your spouse does not like that though? So it's like there's really no space for you to do that if your spouse is a person that's, you know, extra communicative, if that's a word. So communicate on a regular. It's like versus like me, I could be like, okay, I'm gonna drop it. But she says, and she reads my body language, so it's just like I'm quiet. So she can interpret my quietness as he's processing, he's mad, he's everything under the sun. But
it's the same body language. It's the same body language. The same body language when you're upset. Same body language when you're processing. Same body language when you're hungry. When you're hot. It's like I have to weed through all of that and say, okay, you know, all right, it may be that. So instead of me guessing, because as we talked about before, I don't like to guess when it comes down to you. I want you to tell me how it is that you feel, because in my mind, you could be on one thing. Like, to me, in my mind, you're thinking about this and you're going there, and I'm allowing, like, my mind is taking me all the way left, and you're like, I don't know what you're talking about. You know, I'm quiet because I'm just tired today. And I interpret your quiet as you're upset. I did something or didn't do something or whatever.
yes.
Osha, I'm not a mind reader.
Yeah, and I'm gonna read the rent put to you. Said, yeah, I hear you. I try to be intentional about showing her that I'm good and not bothered. Yeah, you know what, bro? That's good, because I think that probably is my my downfall. Like, I'm not gonna go out my way to show you that. Yeah, it's just in that moment it's tough to do that, to like,
when you're upset.
Yeah, it's like to try to engage that, like, yo, I'm cool now. Like, I'm cool. It's just tough to even engage that. So that's challenging. Thank you. That's challenging.
Yes.
That's challenging, bro.
Shouts out to Lorraine for that. A major thing with me, Lorraine. That's major. Because even if he's upset with something, hey, what's going on? Nothing. That nothing, it grinds, it pierces my gears. Because if it's nothing, then it's nothing. So your mood should be in a chill mood. But because I know you, I've been with you for years, I can smell it. I can smell that something is going on. So don't say nothing. Just say, hey, I'm dealing with something right now. I'm processing something right now. Give me time. I'm learning. Because
that check is coming, huh? Because that's the whole thing. It's like trying to check someone the right way, I think it's
challenging.
It's challenging because you don't want to offend, but my flesh be wanting to offend though.
Yeah.
So it's just like, yeah, because it's like, can the checker be checked? You know, that's a whole nother thing. It's like,
no,
I'm checking you right now, but you want to bring up something that I did. It's like, but we in the checking game now. We going to Checkers and getting that double cheeseburger with them checker fries. I'm sorry.
I think you're hungry. So sometimes it's just good to let them have that nothing moment. Loren, I'm trying. It just bothers me so bad because, like I said, his body language is similar. And then I don't know when he's over it because it's not like he comes back to revisit, hey, this is what was going on. If he feels like talking or if he processed it and then feel that, you know what, I'm just going to let that rock. I'm going to let that slide. I'm going to let that pass. He doesn't let me know that it's over. Like his way of letting me know it's over it. I have to come to him and be like, okay, so what's going on? Oh, nothing. You know, it kind of like it ends up he ends up showing that he's over it. But I'm like, well, what happened?
Yeah, it's no effort put for it. Like you said, Lorraine, it's like in that moment, it's like I don't want you to know that I'm weak. So I gotta be strong right now. Cause you be trying to
with your wife though.
This woman.
This ain't corporate America. This ain't your friends. I'm your wife. Like, why do you feel that you have to be this strong, mighty person with me?
I'm your protector.
You're still my protector. And it proves that you're human, that you're not built out of stone. You come on. Like, why is it so hard for you to be vulnerable with me?
Okay.
Why?
Okay, so I'm gonna read what Lorette said. I'm gonna try to answer that. So great point, but every issue doesn't need closure. Some things just need to end. Yes.
I just
you throwing nuggets. Listen, sidebar. If y'all ever, if Lorette is your friend, like y'all have to check his post every day. Like he throws a nugget every day, like a post, and it'll be like a short post, like. I can't even think to quote. Most of them is just like, yo.
That's a quote right there.
Yeah.
Every issue doesn't need closure. That's good. A1, Osha said, men aren't emotional the way we are, and they don't wear their emotions on their face. Society made them think, made them to think that they have to be
that way.
Way.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. And I heard something from Lady Tasha, our first lady. She said something that helped her was don't turn a major into a minor, and don't turn a minor into a major. It's like
musicians.
Yes, I don't know the difference.
Major chord, minor chord.
Sarate. Don't turn a minor into a major. It's like, some things, like Lorette said, some things you just gotta let pass. You gotta let it go. All of that. Some things you just really gotta coast, chill, let it go, let it slide. It's not that big of a deal. But on the other hand of that, on the flip side, because I don't like to say, devil's advocate and all that. On the flip side, things that are hey Valdez, hey Keita. On the flip side of that was major to me. Just because it's not major to you, don't make me feel obsolete. Don't make me feel bad because something that's important to me isn't important to you. So just because if it's not important to you, that's cool. But don't make me feel some kind of way because it is important to me. Is that appropriate?
No, that I think that's perfect because I'm thinking it when you're saying that, I was thinking of that picture again. It's like it's a relationship. So although that's a game where, chess is, hey, I'm trying to win, checkmate, I'm trying to get out. In a relationship, that's totally different. It's like we're on the same team.
Yeah.
If I'm living to knock you down every time something comes up, it's like, yo, what am I married for? Like if that's really my purpose, and this is the person I stood in front of all these people and God, and then did all the vows and stuff, and it's like I'm living to literally knock you down,
babe.
Like checkmate, like nah, bro. Like it's okay to check. Don't get me wrong. Like in the situations, if it's definitely called for, but checkmate is like ending it. Like, yo,
but that's years and maturity in.
Right.
That takes years. That takes maturity. For everybody who's on here who may be wondering or questioning marriage or whatever, that's years and maturity in. Because once you get married, all the things that you're dealing with doesn't stop when you say I do.
Amen.
So if pride was something that was big with you that you were battling, pride isn't going to stop because you said I do. If masculinity or feeling superior or battling with authority or whatever the case, if that's something that you dealt with, something that you struggle with, something that you were processing, whatever, it's not going to stop because you said I do. So that pride and everything else, that feeling superior and I'm over you, and or the man is this and the man is that and the woman is beneath and all of that, that's not going to end just because, even because some people were even raised that way.
Yeah.
That's not going to end just because you said I do, just because you walk down the aisle, just because you have a significant other, you love her. Yes, love covers a multitude. Yes, it does. But you have to put your effort in, your work in. And no, yes, you're going to have some slip ups. No, it's not going to be perfect all the time. But understand that, work at it. And also have grace for yourself, have grace. And for the ones who are kind of like dealing with that, who are married to those who may have those issues, have grace. Have grace, because it's like, it's difficult. It's difficult.
That's good, because I think that leans into more or less, and when you think of checkmate too, it's like, okay, what did I see healthily or unhealthily that makes me think that what I'm doing is normal? So if I seen that screaming on Kendra is normal, and if nobody mentors me to tell me like, yo, Puka, like, you wildin', like, what is you doing? Like, what am I, what's going to happen with that relationship, or what's going to happen to really fix that issue? So I think that's a whole nother part of like mentorship, or what did you see?
Come on.
Because you can delve into that to say, like, what did you see to make what you do necessarily normal? It could be abnormal, it could be wrong, it could be right. But, and I can probably say this, as this community is, this is what this is about, holding each other accountable, because we can speak from our situation, just like Lorena's chiming in. Tonette just shared, and we'll read her comment. It's just like, we want to be able to help and, of course, avoid all of the mistakes that we made in that. So, yeah, I think that goes into mentorship besides checkmate. So,
yeah.
What we got to read. What Tonette says, without having closure, do we leave ourselves open for triggers later?
Come on.
Are we compartmentalizing the issues? It may not need to be sly at the moment, but it needs attention eventually. Yes, I agree.
Yes, but the way, like the closure that I know about, because I agree with both Laurent and what Tonette is saying, because the closure that we sometimes seek for isn't really a healthy way. Okay, let's just say example of what?
No. I was gonna say, I think it's not satisfying because it's not the way that you would want closure.
Yeah.
So because I don't have the same mindset of Kendra feels that the door should be closed at 6:00, but I'm thinking 6:30 is fine. The door gonna get closed, but it's just the timing, and she feels one way, I feel another way. Now it's like, okay, we have to come together to solve what our time of closing the door is, if that's an example, if that makes sense. So I think just with relationships, that's probably why I'm saying the whole checking thing. I think it's needed, of course, in a relationship. Don't get me wrong, but I think the way of going about it, like I said, that picture, to me, I just still see that picture of checkmate, of you knocking down the other piece, and now it's like you got to literally pick that back up because this is your spouse.
Yeah, that's what Kurt just said.
Yes,
person's closure may not be the way you want it to be. Absolutely.
Yes.
But because honestly, let's think of an example. What I've heard, what I've dealt with, and what just friends of mine, as far as closure of a relationship. Hey, this person, we're not going to be together anymore. I need to go to them and I need to tell them why, and I need to do this, and I need to, this is what hurt me in this relationship, and this is why we can't be together. This is why it's not healthy. And it's like, sometimes, how successful were you at that? Because there's some of my friends who went to their house for closure and ended up getting pregnant that night. You know what I'm saying? So For real. You know, there's some situations it's like, yo, what did that closure actually do? You know, personally in our own relationship of some of the things that we went through, you know, where I felt that, you know, situations should have been handled should have been handled the way that I wanted it to be handled. Right. I wanted to speak for myself. I wanted to handle it the way that I'm used to handling it. And I had to trust that my husband was going to speak on my behalf and to handle it that way. I battled with that for the longest. I let him know, like, hey, I'm battling with this because this is the way I'm used to. And it's like, well, actually, doing it your way, what it would have done more damage than it would have helped.
Yes.
And I'm like, I don't care, because guess what? Well, it's not that I don't care, but it's like, well, I feel stupid. I feel dumb. I feel unfulfilled. I'm unfulfilled. I'm like literally screaming inside because this is what, you know, I feel this is what's in me. This is who I am. This is what I'm used to. And basically, I don't know any other way to release it.
Yeah.
So it's not that I don't care about how they receive it. I care more about getting it off of me. And this is the only way that I know to release it. This is the only way I know to get off. As well as I trust my husband. I trust all of that. But when it comes down to certain things, you're not going to do it the way I'm used to doing it.
And that's
you're not going to do
be
it.
There.
It's
in relationship. It's always going to be there, y'all.
You're not going to say the things that I'm going to say. You're not going to hold your head the way I say it. You're not going to speak in a stern tone. You're not going to do it the way that I'm used to doing it. So sit down, scoot over.
Yeah, you want to
go over there.
She want to be ratchet and start slamming tables. I'm just like, okay, I can conduct myself, articulate, and you know, okay, you know, we're gonna talk. I love you, but now it's time to address the elephant in the room, okay?
Yeah.
Because it's just like there's a way to handle situations. For me, like she said, she's more of like the and I'm the okay, you know, you'll get grace, but then once it get there, it's there, and then I'm going to say things. I'm going to say it the right way, but it's just going to be such a collective of all of the dealing with that it's like, Kurt, you should have said, you know, it's like, Kurt, you should have said that at some point. But it's just like, with me, I'm more or less on the side of grace versus my wife is like, nah, like, you did this. Here you go. You're about to take this dome piece take a shot to the head.
I don't want to say is not with grace. It's just, hey, this is how, I guess I'm more so, I want you to know how you made me feel.
Right. Because
this is something that, you know, the situation that we're talking about, we want to, you know, just talk about that. We don't need to have or share too much into it. But the situation that we talk about is something that happened already. It happened before. It's repeated. So I'm like, you handled it already. Remember? And it happened again. So, you know, in those cases, it's like, no, he really did. He really did handle it. But he can't control what other people do. Right. He can't control that. And I'm like, nah. Because to me, it's like, hey, I want to at least let you know how you made me feel so that you can, like, I don't want it to whoop you. I don't want it to get you, but I want you to at least know, hey, while you out here doing damage, or while you out here saying this, or while you out here doing what you're doing, you are affecting people in this way. Mm-hmm. And you are affecting me. You've affected me in this way. You've affected my children in this way. You've affected my husband in this way. You've really shifted some things that, man, it made us sit back and wonder, like, what the heck? Like, it really puzzled us. So in that, hey, I know, you know, so it's like, yes, I needed closure. And my closure was, let me let you know how it made me feel. But Kurt, knowing the situation and knowing, you know, been there, done that, you know, in you know it more than me, he was like, let me do it and let me handle it that way. And I had to trust that my husband had my best interest and spoke and fought for me.
Yeah, because the word talks about leaving and cleaving. You cleave to that wife, so this is for anybody. You sometimes when situations get tough with in-laws, outlaws, every law. But at the end of the day,
hey Denise,
if it got to be blew up, it got to be blew up. No,
I'm
not encouraging anybody to do that, but I think no. But I'm just saying, for your relationship, you have to be willing to lose everything that you know to be normal, to start a new normal with your spouse. That sounds so cheesy, but it's the real. It's just like, yo, again, I devoted my life to this person. So, hey, no love lost. If it's that cousin that keep borrowing money, hey, these Jordans coming out, bro. And Kendra not gonna like me keep giving you money, bro. I love you, but hey, that's the last thing. That's the last $50.
Flip the tables like Jesus did.
Come on.
Before. Yeah.
But yeah, it's just the whole thing on CheckMate is dealing with conflict the right way, but not knocking the person totally out, giving them grace. Like I said, with the game chess, CheckMate is like that's the end of the game.
Did Julian take them brownies out?
So I'm not there yet. Pray for my strength, the Lord.
Pray for my strength, the Lord. Just kidding.
No, but it's an interesting ride, especially like I said, it's just not for married. If you're in a relationship, if you're dealing with family, if it's like, hey, I've been raised by uncles, and now it's that turn for me to put that uncle into place because he done said something off the wall to Kendra. It's like, oh man, I gotta do that. Yes, you do. So it's like it's a tough thing to do, with CheckMate, but
yeah. But you mentioned something about mentoring earlier. What was that about?
What did you see or who taught you how to do what you do? So in the midst of conflict, they may have told you, hey, if that woman get out of line, you put her in her place.
No, for real.
And it's like, okay, because I was mentored under that and was told to speak to a woman like that. Mm-hmm. What happens? Like, what happens? And how does that get addressed? And how does that get deprogrammed?
You get into a relationship with a woman, or you end up trying that with the right one, and you end up getting checked.
Okay.
Where's
respect? I'm gonna read this off from.
Did you take the brownies out?
Cynthia, Canada. Thank you. She's in Cali, right?
Yep.
Respect for each other's feelings because we're not made up the same, and love for you is always kind. It will wait for the right time to hear it in close conflicts. That is so true.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I think that's the other part of it is really the timing. Because like I said, in the midst of a conflict, if Kendra's trying to quote unquote check me, my first nature is to try to check her back. I'm not trying to hear her. Like, no, you're not about to sit here and just go on for 15 minutes and not let me spit my bars. And when I argue, I rhyme.
So, how do I... One of the questions was, how do I check my mate without knocking them down? You guys comment in the chat. Sorry, looking at this replay. Comment in the chat. The question is, how do I check my mate? How do I check someone without knocking them down? What is a healthy way to check? What is the proper way?
And is that realistic? Like checking somebody without knocking them down? Because their ideology of what they're doing, it may not be wrong. So it's just like, I'm here to bring that reality. I came to bring the pain, hardcore to the brain.
Are you serious?
I'm sorry. I do not own the rights to this music.
You stupid.
I mean, it's just like because you're not, in a sense, you're knocking them down you're knocking down their reality of what they built up to be true.
Mm-hmm.
I like that. Yes, in the sense you're knocking their reality down
Mm-hmm.
with a level of truth that you may maintain.
Mm-hmm.
So how do you do that? And is it okay for you to do that? Or are you the person to convey that? Because again, you're my spouse. You're not supposed to do that. You're supposed to love me unconditional. So if I'm cursing you out, you're supposed to just take it.
Let me read this. One of the posts that I shared 3 days ago was, you have to learn the difference between someone disrespecting you versus you feeling disrespected. Emotional ears hear from a place of offense. Sometimes it's not what they said, it's what you are triggered by. And unless you know your triggers, you'll see everything as an attack. That was so good to me. Let me read that one more time. You have to learn the difference between someone disrespecting you versus you feeling disrespected. Emotional ears hear from a place of offense. Sometimes it's not what they said, but it's what you are triggered by. And unless you know your triggers, you'll see everything as an attack.
Yikes. And I'm going to read what Blair just wrote. He said, well, that's hard to do in terms of knocking them down. However, you can do it respectfully, calmly, and make sure you discern the timing. If need be, use a trusted third party to mediate. That is a very great point.
Yeah.
Blair.
Yeah.
Because I think that is so true. You have to have people there that can mediate that without being biased towards towards one person. So that is the utmost truth. Yes.
It will again. So with the thing is, and what we opened Help I'm Married, we opened our doors to Help I'm Married to a musician for whoever needed that. The thing that we found with finding the third party, that we found difficult was finding those people that you can trust, finding those people that you will be willing to tell your business to, or, it's not going to be heard over, heard somewhere else.
Right.
That's one of the things that kind of, with some of the people that I know, it's like, you know what, I'm not going to my pastor or, a person, a minister, because I don't want to hear it over the pulpit. Some people, they just have, I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it again. Trust has been lost because of certain, situations, people, spreading it around, or people using it to manipulate, different things. It's like, hey, this is a weak point for me. Oh, okay, well, some people play or prey off the weakness that some people have. What?
Blair, now that I've done said that, which one of you gonna mediate me checking on that?
Because she laughed at me the other day.
Woo! I don't know. Well, Blair, we here for you. We here for you. Blair.
I pray your strength that you grow stronger in the Lord.
Oh, that tickled me. Jesus, that tickled me.
We can't go back on our word. We open up our doors and our hearts, right?
Yes.
We'll talk with you guys.
Sweet Jesus. I don't know if I can take it.
That was funny.
That was funny.
Yeah, so checkmate. What is the proper way to check your mate?
And love, decency, and respect.
Yeah.
But be able to convey what you got to say.
Yeah. Love it.
Be in grace. I mean, it's like I said, some stuff is very, very, very tough.
Nobody. Everybody stretch your hands towards your mobile device, wherever you're watching this.
We're gonna put the Cash App in the bottom of the chat.
Let's
raise the offering for Brother Blake.
Let's just add the Trouble Fields to your prayer list on tonight.
Woo! Oh my Lord.
So because we're that this is maturity and years, and many
disagreements,
ups and downs, many downs.
Because it literally, like, our testimony, she don't mind me saying this, is like, yo, like, a couple years it was me, like, just going him what I had to say. Mm-hmm. And she's just like, all right. And then them tables turned a couple years ago, and it was like, yo, okay. You saying what you got to say, woman?
Because honestly, when I came into a relationship with Pooh, I brought, it was so many things. When I came into this relationship, I was one way. But before the relationship, when I prayed, I said, okay, God, I don't want my next relationship, I don't want to do it my normal way. Hey, I don't want to do it the way that I'm used to doing it. I want to treat him with respect. I want to honor him. I don't want to kill him with my words because I know how to do that. I don't want to bash him. I don't want to demean him. I don't want to do any of that because I know how. And when it came down to Pooh, I didn't know Pooh. I didn't know Kurt. I knew Kurt from like family events, but to know him and, talking like, yeah, we cool. Yeah, I didn't know him. I didn't know him at all. He wasn't on my radar. I wasn't looking for him. Come to find out he wasn't looking for me.
Listen, I did not like her. I can tell the story. I can testify. We have overcome by the blood of the Lamb and the words of my testimony.
Are you done?
That's the word. They need to hear me testify.
Let me know when you're done.
See, you trying to check me, and this ain't the place for that, because I will check you.
So, coming, so I prayed. I got on jeans right now.
I got on sweats.
So we both got on hair. See, that's that trigger. Because check me, but don't push your authority. Don't weigh. Don't put your weight on that check. Don't do that. Now that's what you ain't gonna do. So
tell me what I ain't gonna do in front of the company. Not for the M2M.
In front of M2M. Say what you gotta say.
See what happens here.
So I prayed, I asked God to take that away. And he actually did. Like, I didn't want to talk down. So I walked in that. And then, like he said,
testimony service is closed. It's always a good time to testify.
So, like he said, in the first couple of years of our marriage, he was.
Listen, I was bad. I repented. I'm sorry.
Rude, blunt, nasty.
It was bad because, like, we was sitting just talking. Like, we couldn't remember like years 1 through like signature moments. We couldn't really remember because it was just like a blur.
Yeah.
And we weren't happy. I think that was the whole thing. It's like one person was just coasting, the other one wasn't happy. So it's like, oh, I remember our anniversary. Oh, that's cool. We went here. Okay. But there was really no signature moments. It's like, okay, I can't remember. Like, I could usually remember a lot, but it's just like, I couldn't remember that stuff. And then it's like, now it's like, okay, I can point out we did this and I cherish this moment because we both were happy.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. It was literally living day by day. It's like, I'm not getting divorced. I'm not divorcing you. I'm not divorcing you either. So we here, we roommates, we'll do the husband and the wife thing. Cause that's a whole nother thing. It's like, I'm doing the husband and the wife thing. I'm doing the wife thing because I have to. I was taught like this is what you do as a wife. I wasn't taught actually. This is what I saw. This is what I thought. This is what I thought a wife did. This is what I thought a wife was supposed to do. Because as a wife, what I saw my mom do was cook, clean, take care of the house, make sure everybody was taken care of, be for herself. That's what my mom did.
Sacrifice.
That's what I saw. So that's who I am. I make sure. Now, it didn't matter if she was upset. It didn't matter if she was treated wrongly. It didn't matter what was going on. She had to make sure she had dinner on the table. Laundry was done.
And I had a blessing some of them times. She had dinner on the table. My God, today.
Yeah, that was after her marriage.
I know. That's when we was dating.
Yes.
She was making them healthy plates.
That's what put all that weight on you.
Yeah.
Yeah, for real.
Shouts out to Darlene.
Yeah. So when it came down to that, it's like we're not happy. I'm not happy. I'm not happy, but I didn't feel because of some of the things that we went through was sometimes self-inflicted. Some things that I've done, some things that I brought upon myself, I felt I deserved whatever it was. Like, oh, I deserve not to be happy because I did this. No, it was no infidelity or any of that. But I deserve not to be happy because I hurt him in this way. So he's letting me know how he feels, whatever, blah, blah, blah. No matter how unhealthy it was, no matter how I felt, it was like, yo, I still got to do my job.
Yes, Blair, yes.
But then those tables turned. Man of God. But then those tables turned.
It's 10 minutes in coming. I'm gonna let Kendra preach.
What happened when the tables turned?
What happened when the tables turned was she let me have it. Slight pause. But yeah, she just voiced her opinion and she did not care. And it just was flowing like milk and honey. And I was just like, hey, I apologize for what I said, but I gotta just go ahead and take this bop on the head a couple of times. And then eventually, in year 11, about 2 days ago, I finally got the voice. And
we're about to end this life.
About 2 days ago, she let me talk for the first time.
Shut. Help! I'm married to a musician. All he does is play.
Oh, Jesus!
He plays keyboards, and he plays too much.
Listen, this is my personality.
Yes, it is. But, I love it.
Well, we thank y'all so much for contributing. Like I said, we wanted to get on time, be early, and because, of course, the WWE Royal Rumble is coming on in exactly 8 minutes.
Family time.
Family time, enjoy your family. Of course, and I want to say this on here for all the musicians that are on here. The third Sunday in February, right?
Yep, the 21st.
The 21st, the third Sunday in this month, we are having the musicians. I hate saying musicians versus pastors, but we're going to have the dialogue with the musicians and the pastors.
Yep.
We will, it's going to be 3 pastors. I don't want to overwhelm them if we had like a room of like 100 musicians.
Yeah.
So
that's true.
We're of course going to open the room and, if you want to be a part of that dialogue, it's going to be great. It's more or less to grasp understanding, of course, the dialogue with pastors and musicians haven't been the greatest. It's rough, but that'll kind of be a special edition for anyone that wants to know the minds of what a pastor maybe seeks for in a musician, and likewise what a musician may expect from his pastor, and try to just kind of get a window into the operations of that kind of relationship that is unique in church. And if it is a great relationship that you have with the pastor and the musician, you usually can see that. So, but it's far too long that we haven't kind of had that. So this platform will be open to having that dialogue. So that is again February 21st. Mm-hmm. If you want to be a part, like I said, have no problem with getting you the Zoom link. I just didn't want us to outnumber the pastors. So I'm going to be like facilitator. Me and Kendra will be like facilitators or whatever. But so yeah, if you want in on that, for sure, it'll be a great conversation.
Yes. Send some questions, some questions, some comments, some concerns that you may see. It was just being married to a musician that showed me, showed me the dysfunction that it could be sometimes between musicians and the pastor, the relationship and the lack thereof. And, so it kind of opened my eyes to it. I was totally oblivious, like whatever it was.
But then there as well, we did see great, there's great sides to it as well. Yeah. once you develop that rapport with your pastor, it's like an unspoken language. Like, okay, I know where he's going, blah, blah, blah. So that you can see both sides of it, but as well, there's, pastors that may not even know the levels of what musicianship is. So it's like, there's a pastor, our pastor didn't know, hey, musicians get paid? Like what? And all of that. It's just like oblivious to it. And, without him knowing that, I don't want to, down him because he didn't know, right? So it's like, okay, let's set this up to where you can talk and get that understanding in the same grounding. So more to come on that.
February 21st. That is
5 minutes.
That's the Sunday after. So the Super Bowl is next Sunday.
Yep.
Valentine's Day is the following.
Yep.
The 21st will be the day. Pastor, we gotta come up with another name, or pastors versus musician. It's controversial. It's kind of controversial. But
if anybody have any ideas on what that should be called, I've been trying not to say pastors versus musicians. That just sound bad. But we just gonna have dialogue, the tough dialogue. Yes. But again, I am entrant number 22 in the Royal Rumble. If you're gonna watch tonight. I'm going to be number 22 in the Royal Rumble on tonight.
No, he's not.
So root for me because I'm getting thrown over the ropes.
Well.
But no, Royal Rumble is coming on if you don't watch wrestling. What's going on, my brother?
Hey, Court. Sorry, we about to end. You got to catch the replay.
Yeah, but thank you guys again. This is a fun conversation, a much needed one. CheckMate. It's good to check your mate, but do it in decency and order. And we love y'all. About to go watch some wrestling. And good night. We will see y'all next week with, I don't know what the topic will be, but we will be.
No, we're not.
Super Bowl. I'm sorry. No. Enjoy your family. Super Bowl. We may pop in on Wednesday and just say hi.
Yeah. Enjoy your family.
Aren't we teammates? Blair.
That's good.
I like that.
I
think write that down. Wife, please.
Yes.
Yes, Court. It's all good, brother. I know you're a working man of God. And yes, the Royal Rumble is on tonight, 7:00.
Yeah, we gotta.
We like that name, Blair. I think we have to just post it.
Royal Rumble is tonight, but shouts out to Courtney. Courtney and Derica Newsome.
Yes.
All is fair in love and marriage.
If I could sing, I would sing that. I would sing the hook, but I'm not even gonna try it, Courtney. I'm not gonna do it, bro.
I appreciate that.
Don't do that. That's my bro.
I appreciate that, man of God. So yeah, we gotta get together with them too. We'll do like a dual show with that too. So yes, thank you so much for tuning in. As far as checking your mate, what is the proper way? Make sure you do it healthily and out of love, and also extending grace.
But put her in check, because it's usually the woman acting out.
You know what? I love y'all.